Halo Campaign Evolved, the newest game from the newly rebranded Halo Studios, formerly known as 343 Industries. Is it good? Surprisingly, yes. Yes, I think it is very good. Now, I'm going to explain in this review the things I liked, the things I think worked, the changes that were made that I liked, but I'm also going to say the things that I thought were a little and the things that I just thought did not work whatsoever. So first off, the positives. 1. It feels like Halo. Now that was the thing people were most concerned about when we heard that, they're moving to the Unreal Engine. It's like, will it still feel like Halo though? Thankfully though, it's really just a modified Halo Reach engine as the base foundation and the Unreal Engine running on top handling the graphics, so it should still feel like Halo. And when I booted up and played it, it does feel like Halo. When you jump, it still has that nice floatiness to it, but also kind of weighty. The melee feels good, although maybe the feedback from some of the melee hits is just a little off. Gunplay feels good. The vehicles feel good. The vehicles are actually fun to drive in this, because if you remember back in Combat Evolved, the vehicles, yeah, they were fun, but they didn't handle the best. Like the Ghost was weird to handle, the Warthog was weird to handle, but in this, they handle like their Halo Reach counterparts. For good and for bad. The Scorpion tank, I've always hated the Halo Reach Scorpion tank. It always felt as if you were balancing on a ball, and I just fucking hate it. It's like, I want to turn left, but it's making me reverse, and it's like, no, turn left. It's like, oh, reverse? No. So that annoyed me, but the vehicles are still fun. And the new vehicles we get to play, which I'll talk about that in a minute. So first off, the game feels great, the missions are still fun to do, the objectives are nice and clear, a bit too clear sometimes, I'll get to that in a minute. The guns feel really good. The assault rifle, I did complain about the assault rifle not having 60 rounds in the mag. Thankfully there's a skull to fix that, but also just the normal 36 round mag, you don't really notice the lack of other bullets. It is actually quite fun, and I'm not gonna lie, this might be my favourite assault rifle in a Halo game, at least for a campaign. It's so fun to use. Whenever I ran out of an assault rifle, I just felt naked. I was like, I need to find another one, so I'd always go for that. The Magnum feels good. Doesn't one-shot hunters anymore, but it's still really, really good. Not the biggest fan of the way it sounds. It doesn't sound as punchy. I feel as if it sounds a little bit weak. It sounds more like the Halo 2 or Halo 3, like maybe a blend of those two. It doesn't sound like the punchy Halo Combat Evolved Magnum. The BR only shows up, at least when I played through, it only shows up in the bonus missions. It does not appear in the actual campaign Evolved. Needler feels good. Plasma Rifle sounds weird and it's not strong enough in my opinion. Plasma Pistol's got its old overcharge sound effect and it feels good. Sniper Rifle's good. Rocket's good and it locks on now. The Needle Rifle, oh god, the Needle Rifle's so good. Like, using it, it just makes me think, like, why did you ever remove this from the sandbox, from the games? Like, it's just one of the best weapons ever added to a Halo game. I love the Needle Rifle. It only shows up, again, at least only when I played, it only showed up on the mission keys, and it was only there for a wee bit, but in the prequel missions, you find it everywhere, so have fun with that. But all the guns feel really good. There's one little thing though I noticed, I don't know if it's a bug or just something, but switching between weapons, there's a small delay from being able to fire. So trying to do the noob combo, for example, overcharge the plasma pistol, let it go, you swap, and then instantly get the headshot. Not anymore. There's like a noticeable 1 second delay from pulling the trigger to it firing, or in fact, you need to pull the trigger, realize it's not working, and then pull the trigger again. And that's gotten me killed quite a few times. So yeah, they kind of need to fix that. But gunplay feels good. The enemies feel good to fight against, although sometimes they'll just stand there. So I played through normal, haven't tried it on legendary yet, so maybe in the higher difficulties the AI will be better. But also I know they just released a patch that says fixes some issues with the AI, so it might be better. And it's still fun. The missions are still great. You still know the iconic beats of the mission and the parts to look forward to. It's just, at least they didn't mess that up. And a big thing that I'd say that is an improvement in this game is they fixed a bit of the repetitiveness of Combat Evolved. Now, as much as we love Combat Evolved, it is repetitive to a certain point. More specifically, the backtracking. You know, a lot of missions are, oh, in this mission, you're going from A to B, and then maybe 2 missions later, it's like, oh, well, now you're on this same map, but now you're going from B to A, and there's tiny visual differences now. That's what it was. You know, it's just for the limitations of the time, and it was a way of getting around it. And, you know, they still made it interesting enough back then that it was still fun, and it didn't really bother you or notice it too much. I mean, I didn't notice it until somebody pointed it out, and I was like, oh yeah, so it is. But this time, going from like probably Mission Guilty Spark onwards, I feel as if that's when the game really shines, because they've changed some of this stuff. Actually, no, I take that back. Assault in the Control Room, because Assault in the Control Room is basically just you going through canyon, over a bridge, through the canyons again, and all the Forerunner rooms look very, very similar, if not exactly the same, and you're just going through them all, and then eventually you get to the control room. This one, they've changed the rooms up a wee bit, not drastically, but they are noticeably like, oh, this one is, you know, different to the last one. It's not a carbon copy. Although I did notice, or at least I did feel, that the actual canyon where the actual control room is, felt a bit smaller. I don't know if it was just perspective or whatever, but it just felt a wee bit smaller. The mission 343 Guilty Spark, you start off in the swamp, looks fantastic, and it just sets the tone and the mood instantly. There's just something off, there's something wrong. And as you go through the Forerunner structure and the descent downwards, it still maintains that creepiness. Like, they did a really good job of maintaining the creepiness and the horror aspect of that. And then the flood reveal, they still do the exact same. You know, Chief gets Jenkins' helmet, gets his like fucking memory fucking SD card essentially, puts in his helmet. We see the footage. Oh my god, what the fuck is this? Boom, there's the flood. And there's blood everywhere. Blood is back in Halo. It's great. You know, there's fucking hundreds of blood. And then we go on into the library, which they have changed quite a bit. Now, I know I am in a minority here. I actually am a big fan of the library mission in the original Combat Evolved. I know people say, oh, it's a bit boring and it's repetitive. And I get all the criticisms, because it is just very repetitive. You're just running past, shooting flood, you get to a door, you have to wait for Guilty Spark to open the door, then you move on, get to a lift, you go down, rinse repeat, fight through flood, wait for the door, get through the door, down a lift, and all the floors, you do that like 3 or 4 times, I think it's 4, all the floors look the same. It's just, you know, very bland, and I get why people hate that, but I like that about it, simply because I like the aesthetic of the library, and just because it is just constant, you know, attacking, being attacked, flood, it's just constant run and gun. Obviously, except for the wee bits, the wee downtime you get when you're stuck at the door. But for this, they actually changed it up a bit. Now, in Campaign Evolved Anniversary, oh yeah, I know, the game that shouldn't be fucking named. In Campaign Evolved Anniversary, they tried changing it up a wee bit by making every floor have a different sort of colour set. So one floor had nothing but red lights, and then it was blue lights, then green lights. And that changed it up a wee bit. But in this, they've actually changed the architecture pretty substantially. So every floor is very unique now. It's not just like, oh, around this corner, oh, around this corner. Now there's like lots of different wee bits, and there's less tunnels now. And the lifts are very much lifts from Halo 2, when you play as the Arbiter, when you go down the lift into the flood facility, so I kind of like that. But also a thing I really liked was, as you're descending every floor, it's getting more flood infected as you go. So at the top it's still kind of nice and pristine Forerunner, but then as you go down it's getting like, oh, there's some flood spores over there, no, there's some dead bodies over there, and then by the time you get to the bottom floor, it is just full on, you know, Halo 3 Cortana mission, just flood city. It's just, that was really cool, so I quite like that. So the library, it's different, but it still keeps the spirit of the original mission. And like I said, I like the original library mission, simply because I dread it. I look forward to it because I dread it, if that makes sense. It's like, oh god, not the library, oh, you know, sort of, I like the challenge of it. Then we get to 2 betrayals, and that's interesting. Again, backtracking, you start at point B and then you're working your way back to point A. But again, they've changed it up a bit. Now there's like big flood spores all over the place now. Like, it actually looks like the flood is proper taking over and growing over the Halo ring now and infecting, like it's just grown over the snow and the rocks and all that. It looks really fucking cool. It really gives a sense of, oh, this thing is spreading. And they've changed it up. Like, you still need to do the whole, oh, fly to these 3 points, these same rooms that you've been to before, and like destroy the generators. But now instead of just like, oh, just stand in there and it drains your shield, now it's like there's 3 like wee batteries in the room and you need to shoot them and blow them up. And then we get to the final mission, the Maw. Plays pretty much the same. You know, you fight through the Pillar of Autumn, you get to the weapon room, you get grenades, rockets, whatever you want. Push the buttons, expose the vents, blow them up, run, get to the lift, and then you do the Warthog run. Warthog run is a bit different. It still has very much the same structures that you need to drive around. It still has those stupid wee ramps that you think, oh, I can drive over that. Oh no, I can't. It just makes me go into a fucking wall. But what's actually nice about this Warthog run now is that the Pillar of Autumn is actually split in half, and there's sort of a big desert bit in the middle now that you can drive through. So actually properly gives a sense of scale of the run, because you know, that was one of the things that people always brought up, is like the waypoint marker saying like, I don't know how long it is, like 2.6 kilometers. That's much longer than what the fucking ship is, so it never added up. Now it does. And then drive to the end, see the end cutscene, boom, game over. So it's still very much the Halo you will remember. Like, I just remember doing so much stuff like, yep, I know exactly where to go. But there's enough stuff that they've changed that it doesn't feel sacrilegious. Like, there was no gameplay stuff that like pulled me out. I was like, oh, why have they done this? Oh, this feels wrong. There was none of that. Sprint, for example, I completely forgot that sprint was a thing in this game, because it didn't really tell you like, oh, you can sprint. I completely forgot. It wasn't until I was in the mission keys that I realised like, oh wait, hold on, I can sprint. But I feel no need to sprint, and I didn't like, in the entirety of this gameplay and on all the gameplay, I still don't even know what the fucking sprint button is in this game. I have not needed to sprint once. Now, that's the stuff I liked. That's the stuff that's very good about the game. Now here's the stuff I'm a little iffy on. 1, the graphics. They are shiny, they are nice, but they do suffer from what some people have been calling it, Unreal Engine sort of genericness. It's like, yeah, it's technically really shiny and all that, but like, it doesn't exude that sort of Halo art design sort of tone and atmosphere. Still feels and kind of looks like Halo, but kind of Halo light. You get me? Like, I can just tell from some rooms, I was like, oh, this room's kind of lost a bit of its atmosphere. I was like, oh, I remember this room, and then when I got into it, it's like, oh, it's too bright now, it doesn't feel as good. Also, sometimes it was a bit too bright. Like when I was doing the Warthog run, like near the end, there's just fire everywhere, and to the point where like I couldn't see a thing, and I'm like, fuck, there's too much fire, what's going on? But at the same time, that could be to sort of add to the chaosness of like, fuck, this ship is about to explode. So just stuff like that. But I will say, there was a lot, and I mean a lot, of graphical sort of haziness and just fuck ups. Like, especially on the metal, like on the Forerunner metal. Like, here's some footage here. You know, the torch off, metal looks okay. Torch on, it's just this weird, ugly haziness to it. And like, that is all over the Forerunner architecture throughout this entire game. I don't know if it's a setting. I don't know what the technical term for it is. But it's ugly. It's just ugly. Other examples of stuff as well that just seemed weird, in terms of like the texturing and all that. Whenever I got hit by a fuel rod, whether it be a fuel rod gun or from a hunter, there'd always be like the particles from the explosion and then smoke, but it didn't look good. Like, it didn't look like good particles. It looked like haziness, like almost like, oh, I'm playing this in like 480p resolution haziness to it. It just looked bad to me, and it's just stuff I didn't like. Other things that I didn't like, or were a little iffy on, is they've cut out some small cutscenes that really added to the charm to the game. So I mentioned the light bridge earlier. Everyone remembers, you get up to the light bridge, you push the panel, and then it flashes white, and then you get a wee like 25-second cutscene where it just shows Chief pushing the button, and then the camera zooms out. It shows you the light bridge and just reveals it in all its glory. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool. Not anymore. Push the button, and then you just see out the corner of your eye, oh, that's opening up over there. Just kind of shit. And then the other one, like one of my favourites was always Truth and Reconciliation, when you're attacking the grav lift to actually board the ship. You know, you got new batch of Marines after you kill everyone, after you kill the hunters, and then you'd walk into the grav lift and there'd sort of be a magical moment of like the Marines flying up one by one, and they're like, whoa, woo. Not anymore. You just jump in and up. All right, we're in the ship. It's like, oh, come on now. Let's kind of ruined it a wee bit. Also, there's invisible walls in certain places that kind of killed exploration. And another thing that this sort of ties into that, the invisible walls, I feel as if the game is a bit too hand-holdy. Like it's holding your hand too much. For example, there's weapon markers. So anything that can be picked up by you, whether it be ammo, weapons, or grenades, has these like markers on them, which is a line and then a wee square box. And I mean everything. So if you kill a Covenant squad, let's say 1 elite, 4 grunts and 2 jackals, right? That's, when you kill them, that's then going to leave hundreds of markers, because now there's a plasma rifle on the floor, let's say 2 plasma pistols and 4 needlers now and a whole bunch of grenades. There's going to be a marker for each one of them. And it's just like, that's not needed. Like, you're holding my hand, it's like, hey, there's guns here now. See those guys that were shooting you with their guns? You've killed them. Their guns are on the floor now. It's like, yeah, I know there's going to be a plasma rifle there. Do you know why? Because the guy was just shooting me with a plasma rifle. Plus, it's bright blue and has a bright blue light. That's like silver floor. I can fucking see it. I don't need a big fucking marker. Nor do I need 12 markers all over the place taking up my screen. It really infuriated me, and I'm going to have to go through the settings because there's a lot of settings. I hope that's an option to turn off, because it is just stupid. I don't need to be told that stuff. I don't need to be told, hey, you were just being shot at by a plasma pistol. There's a plasma pistol there now. It's like, I know there's a plasma pistol there. Also, they added extra dialogue to explain stuff. Like when you pick up the overshield, Cortana goes, oh, this is a Covenant overshield. I've, changed the biometrics in your suit to make it that you can use it. It's like, I know how to use it. There's a big thing at the bottom left of the screen that shows a shield icon and it's sort of like half sort of filled up, and it says press X to use. So I'm going to assume that if I press X, it's going to give me a shield. Like, we didn't need this back in the day. We learned by doing. We just learned by doing. And again, with invisible walls, it's like, oh, I want to look over this cliff edge. Oh, nope, you can't. You might fall off. It's like, right, well, can you let me fall off? And then I can learn not to do that. Like, it's just silly stuff like that. It's way too hand-holdy and almost treats you as if you're an idiot. Like, I was kind of getting annoyed. I was like, why are you telling me this? Like, I don't need to be told this. This is basic stuff. I know some people might be like, well, it's basic for you. You've played Halo before. Some people might not have played Halo before. It's like, no, this is just basic common game knowledge, first-person shooter knowledge shit. But also, you want to learn in a game. I don't want my hands being held and being led through. It's like, hey, go this way, shoot that guy till his shield pops. Whoa. Like, it's just, it was a bit too much for me, a bit too much. Okay, now we get to the bad stuff, and there isn't a lot. I would say it's rather just one big category, and by far the worst part of this game is how the story is presented to us, i.e. the cutscenes. The cutscenes are fucking awful in this game, like truly bad. The camera work is boring, it's stilted, it's just not on cool camera angles or movements. But also, probably the worst part is the voice actors' performances. They are just so bad. Like, one, Keyes sounds different because one is a different actor, but he just doesn't sound like a confident sort of like, don't worry guys, I've got this kind of grizzled leader. It doesn't sound like that anymore. Johnson, different voice actor, sounds different, not as good. Like, he'll deliver the sort of iconic lines, but it just feels as if it just feels hollow. He'll like his first speech when you first see him in the game, he gives that whole speech and then he ends it with, am I right, Marines? In the original, you believed him, you're like, yeah, let's kill these aliens. In this one now it's just like, am I right, Marines? It's like, what? It sounds like you don't believe yourself, and now I don't believe you. Are we gonna fucking die? Like, it didn't work for me, the new Sergeant Johnson. Like, he did not work. And then Chief and Cortana, same voice actors, Steve Downes, Jen Taylor, and they're saying the exact same lines as they did 25, 26 years ago. but it's just different and it's just wrong. Like, we've heard them say those lines so many times that we can hear the exact inflections and tone and phrasing and how they say it perfectly. We can say it beat for beat. This, totally different, therefore it changes the tone of their character. Like, the way they've said those lines has a different intent. So now Cortana, it just sounds different, like in her expressions, and Chief as well, and it just adds a different tone to the scene. Whereas like back in the day, it's like, oh, I don't think we'll make it, and then Chief just calmly, we'll make it. Not anymore. Now it's just like, oh, we're not going to make it. It's like, we will make it. It's like, what? That's no. Plus, Chief has one or two extra lines in here, which are not needed. Just absolutely not. Same with Cortana, one or two extra lines. It's like, that wasn't needed. But just some of the iconic lines that we know Cortana to say have just been butchered. You know, the whole, this cave is not a natural formation. She says it again here, but it's just different. There's no sense of like wonder of it, of like, oh, this cave is not a natural formation. No, it's just, this cave is not a natural formation. Guess we better explore it. You know, it came across very Marvel-esque, if you get me, very quippy. And I really hated that. I was like, oh, this is awful. I do not like this at all. And I'd say the biggest changes were on the starting cutscene for 2 Betrayals, when Guilty Spark teleports you as Chief into the control room. You're about to activate the Halo Ring. Cortana stops you and basically reveals to you, oh, the Halo Ring is actually, it kills the Flood's food supply, which is us. Like, we can hear that in our heads, how it's played out. You know, she's angry with Guilty Spark and she's explained to you all that stuff, but in this one, it just comes off different. Plus, they cut out the word, or the phrase when she says, sod off, which, you know, and it didn't fit back in the day, but it was fun. We liked it. The reason she said sod off back in the day is because originally Bungie thought of Cortana as having an English accent, and, you know, saying sod off is an English phrase, but they kept it in anyway when they got Jen Taylor. I was like, no, let's just keep her American, but they kept that in, and that's just a fun wee lore thing that Halo fans will know. But then they cut that out. It's like, oh no, keep that in. It's, you know, it's a lot of little things that they change. It's just like, oh, why did you change that? You don't quite get it. We liked it for that. So that entire scene just plays differently. Even Guilty Spark, the stuff he says, just total different inflection, and just gives it the scene a different tone, and it just feels wrong. It just feels worse. And then the final cutscene in the game is just weird. Or even before that, like on the mission Keyes, when you find Captain Keyes and he's sort of growing into a proto Gravemind, when Cortana's like saying to you, it's like, you know what he'd expect, what he'd want us to do. You can feel the remorse in her, like, in her voice line delivery, and like, you know, just the way it's presented. You can feel that in it. In this one though, they don't. Like, she says it almost as if she's talking you down. Like, watch the cutscene, it's so weird. Like, the way she's got her hands out, it's like, right, don't do anything brash, but you know it's what he'd want us to do. It's almost as if she's talking us off a ledge, like we're about to jump off, and she's trying to talk us down. It's like, no, this is weird. And then another one with Captain Keyes. So, in the mission Truth and Reconciliation, we're there to save Captain Keyes. So we get to the jail cells, and this is again another hand-holdy bit. Everyone knows, or people who've played the original, you get to the jail cells and there's invisible elites, and you know, you need to try and find them. It's a wee bit of a added sort of extra difficulty to it. It's like, oh fuck, they're invis. Well, except for that one guy with the bright sword, which, oh, you can use the sword now. It's pretty fun. So you've got that. But now in the new version, because Halo Studios thinks you're an idiot, when you get in there, there's the big red triangles above the enemies now to show where they are, even though they're invisible. But also, Captain Keyes says the line, watch out, Chief, they're using some sort of invisibility cloak tech. You know, watch out.
Watch out, Chief. The Covenant guards are using some kind of stealth armor.
It's like, okay, so I've got 2 things tell me there's invisible elites. Well, actually 3. My eyes, I can fucking see. You know, yes, they're invisible, but I can see the sort of waviness. I'm good. So there's that. So you hear Keyes deliver that line, and when you hear him deliver that line, It sounds as if he's like up against the shield door looking like, oh, watch out for that one. Oh, look out. Oh, whatever. So we use the chief, kills the elites, and then push a button now to open the cell door. Cutscene. And the cutscene is exactly the same pretty much as the old cutscene. Keyes is sitting in the corner, moping, and then he looks up all dazed and confused. And he's like, I told you not to come. Ugh. And that just does not add up whatsoever. It adds up in the old version, because you get into the room, you kill the elites, the door opens, and Keyes sort of sees you for the first time, like, oh wow, hey, I told you not to come here. But now in this version, you get in there, and then you hear an enthusiastic Captain Keyes say to you, watch out, Chief, they've got invisible elites, watch out. So now you're thinking, alright, he's watching me fight these guys, and he's ready for me to rescue him. No, open the door, he's still sitting there, slumped in the corner, sort of looking dazed. He's like, oh, I told you not to come. It's like, well, that doesn't add up. So that clearly tells me that the cutscene people were not really talking to the sort of gameplay people, so they're on the same page here, because it just tonally it just doesn't add up. So you tell me after, you know, Keyes says that line, it's like, watch out, Chief, there's invisible elites. He just walks back to his corner and sits down. It's like, he's gonna rescue me. Or like he watches us kill them all and then he goes back down and sits down. No, he should be standing there waiting for us to let him out. But no, because they want to be faithful to the cutscene, the original cutscene, which they are, thankfully, they still went with that, even though it doesn't add up with the new handholdy line. You need to play it to see it. It's just like that. But also, another cutscene they changed, which was not needed, absolutely not needed. So, get to the end of Warthog Run, you get on the ship, you get in the longsword, and you fly out of there, and it's tense, camera's shaking, you're like, oh fuck, are we going to make it? You see the Flood are pure swarming towards the Pillar of Autumn, and then boom, blows up, and then you get into space, the ship is shaking like fuck, engines turn off, you know, because they're overheated. Chief stands up his chair, walks to the window, looks out, and then, you know, that's it. We see Halo explode, he sits down, you know, Cortana, nope, nothing, just dust and echoes, you know, Halo, it's over. Chief, nope, I think we're just getting started. And then the camera does the cool sort of tilt up away so it hides Chief's face as he takes his helmet off. End. Not anymore. Not anymore. They've changed the cutscene now. So you get to the longsword now, and the ship is different now. There's no sort of back cargo access anymore. It is now more like a fighter. Now he gets to the front of the ship where it's just a normal jet fighter cockpit, one person. So he gets in there, puts his assault rifle down. We see the assault rifle. It's got 4 bullets left. It's like, it's 0-4 because it's installation 0-4, Gets in there. He's about to take off. Canopy is about to lower. Oh no, a Flood Juggernaut grabs him. He has a tussle with this Juggernaut. Cortana says nothing this whole time. Don't even cut to her to look worried or anything. Chief grabs the Magnum that Captain Keyes gives you in the first mission in Pillar of Autumn. One-shots it, which that'd be nice to know, if that you can one-shot Flood Juggernauts. Wish that was actually in the game. One-shots it, looks at Cortana, gives her a nod of like, yeah, I shot him with this gun. And then they fly off. And then as they're flying off, it cuts to Chief and Cortana just looking straight ahead at the camera as they're flying off. No camera shaking, no sense of urgency or like, oh fuck, there's a bit of turbulence here, shit's about to blow. It's just them. Get off into space. Ring blows up. Yes, and I say the ring blows up, like, because the fucking explosion goes around the whole fucking ring. You know, it's the Pillar of Autumn that blows up, by the way, not the ring. It's just, but anyway, and then it gets to the classic, oh, Halo's over. No, I think we're just getting started. But the camera's still just facing Chief, you know, straight ahead as he takes the helmet off, and it cuts away before the helmet gets to his chin, instead of the cool pan away to where like, oh, Chief actually does have his helmet off, we just can't see because of the roof of the fucking cockpit now. It's just overall just worse in every way. Like, camera work is boring, the added tension of the Flood Juggernaut, oh no, the Flood Juggernaut's got Chief. It's like, well, the tension is the mission we just played, which is the countdown timer to get to this fucking fighter. That's the tension of the scene. You don't need to add a Flood Juggernaut to add tension to the scene. If you feel as if you need that, then there's a problem with your fucking scene. Okay? There's a problem with your fucking gameplay level. The tension is, we've got a limited time to get the fuck out of here. We've made it to the ship. Get the fuck out of here. And now the camera rumble gives you an added sense of that. You don't need that fucking Juggernaut scene. But I know what they're doing. They're just, like, the Magnum, the keys gives you, it's all, like, engraved and got a wooden handle. And he's like, oh, I added line here. Give it to Miranda, my daughter. It's like, oh, right, they're really trying to tie this into Miranda now, you know, because she wasn't mentioned at all in the first game, because they hadn't came up with her. So, you can probably tell if they're going to do a Halo 2 and a Halo 3 remake, that Magnum's probably going to carry out throughout those fucking games. Because if I remember correctly, when Miranda dies, she's holding a Magnum and a shotgun, so it's probably going to be that Magnum she's holding, and it's going to be a big thing, like, oh no. But, yeah, they had to remind you, oh, he's got this Magnum, oh, he shot this Floyd Juggernaut. Wasn't needed, absolutely wasn't needed, and just, yeah, the cutscenes in this game really let the game down. It really does. They're just bad in every single way. And people are saying Cortana looks ugly. I don't think she looks ugly. I think the face model's okay, the body model's okay. What I think just doesn't suit her is I think the hair model is too big for the head and face. That's what I think. And the patterns on her body just look off. They just look weird. There's no there's no symmetricalness to it, you know, like it was symmetrical but kind of asymmetrical. Like, it just didn't work for me, like the pattern. I mean, as we all know, you know, peak Cortana was Halo 4. That's the best thing 343 did. This is not, and it's not the worst Cortana, I'd say. It's probably, well, maybe it is actually, let me think about it, because the weapon from Halo Infinite, that's not Cortana, but the sort of purple one that showed up, that was Cortana, and that was kind of meh. But this Cortana, she just, like, yeah, her design annoyed me. Like, I kept looking at her hair and I'm like, her hair is way too big for her body, and the patterns just looked wrong. It just looked wrong. I didn't like it. I liked when she was big and golden, that was kind of cool, but yeah, nah, it just didn't work, and that's what lets the game down, is the cutscenes. So overall, I would say this game is a solid 8 out of 10. The gameplay is still really strong, feels like Halo. The levels are still just as fun and unique as ever, and just a lot of variety amongst them. The vehicle missions are great. The Banshee, oh my god, the Banshee flies so good, and it uses the old school fuel rod gun sound, which is, you know, I've always, like, when I heard it, I was like, oh, that's the same sound that Green Lantern's ring makes from the Justice League cartoon. So it's like, oh, green energy is that sound. So yeah, and the music's great, because of course you can't bugger up the fucking Halo music. You'd have to go out of your way to mess that up, and thankfully they didn't. So the music's still good, gameplay and the levels are still familiar, but a wee bit different enough that it still feels a wee bit fresh, and it's still just as iconic. Graphics are technically good, it's just the art design just lets the game down just a wee bit. You know, there's some things that, you know, should still look old school and have that sort of oh god, what's the terminology? What's that art fucking? Oh, brutalist. It should have that brutalist design to it. So yeah, just wee things here, and there's some visual bugs as well, which of course, you know, a 343 game launching. Sorry, a Halo Studios game launching with bugs, that's to be a given. So, but they're fixing them, so hopefully I'll play the new update and I'll notice the fixes, and hopefully they'll fix the graphical stuff along the way. But again, the biggest thing that lets this game down is the cutscenes. Cutscenes are just, the camera angles are boring, bland, uninspired. Some shots just linger on for like too long. Like, I remember some shots I'm just like, why are we lingering on this shot? I would have cut like 5 seconds ago. This is just weirdly paced and awful. Again, the vocal performances, it's the same actors, it's the same lines, but it's just the vocal direction they were given was just wrong, and just didn't work, and it's just worse than the previous one. So overall, I would have to give this an 8 out of 10. If the cutscenes and all that were better, I would give it a 9 out of 10. But just those cutscenes bring it down. So in terms of the actual game and the gameplay, I find are still very, very much fun and enjoyable, and I can't wait to do it in co-op. Also, one of the things they added was the campaign remix, which is kind of cool. So that's essentially, you play through the campaign, but they'll have these 3 different skulls on, and at all times, and you can add more skulls if you want, but the 3 skulls basically make it that weapon locations that you know might change. So it's like, oh, this Pelican always has a rocket launcher here. Oh, no, it doesn't. Now it has an energy sword. Okay. And enemy encounters will be different. And I can't remember the other one. But basically it'll switch up everything. It's almost like playing Campaign Fiesta. So I tried it, played the Pillar of Autumn. I was like, alright, cool. I just met keys. I'll go around the corner, get ammo for the Magnum. Oh no, there's an energy sword here. Okay. Guess I'm getting an energy sword. What enemy am I going to run into? The hunters. I took one out though, but he killed me. But I played through more of the campaign, and it's just sort of fun to see the Flood on the first mission, and brutes, and having a sniper rifle in the Pillar of Autumn. It just adds up. So I think that on Legendary is going to be fun. Another thing I forgot to mention is the 3 bonus missions. I'm probably going to make a separate video talking about those 3 bonus missions, since they are just, it's a wee added bonus extra thing. Like, they are completely separate from Campaign Evolved, because when they announced that, oh, we're doing 3 prequel missions with Ewan Johnson, I was like, right, how are they going to do this? Are those missions going to be sprinkled throughout the normal campaign, which I was a wee bit afraid of because they might break up the pacing? Or are those 3 missions going to be, you know, the first 3 missions you play, therefore Pillar of Autumn is going to be the 4th mission you play? I was like, oh, that shouldn't be right. You know, Pillar of Autumn should be the first fucking mission. Or are they just going to be, well, here's prequel missions, but you play them at the end? Thankfully it's the latter. It's once you complete the campaign, then they'll be there. It says bonus missions, and you can just play through them. They're okay. They're okay. They're just okay. Like, nothing groundbreaking, but nothing offensively bad either. They were fun and enjoyable. I mean, honestly, when I was playing them, and this might be a weird fucking comparison, but this is how I felt when I was playing it. I really felt as if I was playing Destiny 2. Like, I feel as if I was playing like a Destiny 2 campaign or a strike. Like, there's one bit when you're on a gondola that really feels like a Destiny strike. And I was like, this is really familiar. But that's what it felt like. Even the architecture, like there's like some rooms are still Covenant architecture, but the colour isn't purple. It's like white marble with like gold trimming. I'm like, oh, this is very Leviathan-esque. You know, very Emperor Callus. You know, Destiny 2 speaking here. But, you know, that's what it felt like to me. So I don't know if that's a good compliment, because I'm kind of saying these missions felt like a Bungie game, because Destiny is a Bungie game. But this sort of new Bungie, not old classic Halo Bungie. Like, yeah, it's this whole thing. But they're okay, they're fine. But I like, they added nothing really narratively. Like, they really added nothing. It was just bonus mission for the sake of bonus mission. I don't know if this is them just testing the waters of like, hey, this is an original mini story and sort of campaign levels we can come up with. What do you guys think? To which I would just say, nah, they're okay. They're okay. Too repetitive though, because it's all in the one location. You're on one big Covenant ship. Although the dogfighting, like in space when you're in the Seraph, that was cool. Although there was a little bit too much downtime between enemy waves. But again, the gameplay was good, and it really does remind you, or make you think like, why did they stop doing these kind of missions after Halo Reach? It works so well. So that's all I have to say for the bonus missions right now. They're okay. They're okay. Nothing fantastic. They're just, they're good. I'll do a separate video on them. So yeah, again, overall, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Is it better than the original Combat Evolved? No. But it is better than Combat Evolved Anniversary, which I know that isn't a very high bar to beat, but it's still better. Again, slowly but surely these guys are learning how to make a Halo game, but it's just annoying how much it's like, oh, they got 5 things right, but they got 2 things wrong. It's like, oh, come on now. Like, we've been giving you enough feedback over the years that you should be able to know how to do this. For the newly rebranded Halo Studios with new management and whole new like art department leads and all that kind of stuff, a good start, but they still need to do better. They still need to do better. And we'll see what happens in the coming months, you know, with the new Xbox heads. You know, is there going to be layoffs? I don't know, maybe. But I just want a good Halo game. And thankfully this is a good Halo game. But then again, they're remaking an old good Halo game. I want new good Halo. That's what I want. But again, they're probably just doing the thing that old 343 did when they got in charge, was like, right, We're going to remake Halo 1, because if we can't get that right, then we can't get Halo right at all. Which proved to be right, because the next 12, 15 years was awful. They're doing the same with this one. They're like, right, we're in charge now, we're now Halo Studios, and the first thing we're doing, we're remaking Halo 1, because if we can't get that right, then we can't get Halo right. And so far, I would say, okay, you guys are doing most of it right. It's just one or two things you need to fix. One or two things. And hopefully they take the feedback from all these reviews and take that on board. They don't get egotistical. I hope they actually listen and go, okay, fans really didn't like that. They like this though. They really don't like that change. And hopefully we'll see what we get from then on. But let me know, have you guys played Campaign Evolved yet? Do you intend to play it? What did you think of it? If you have played it, what things did you like? What things did you not like? And yeah, let me know in the comments down below. So thank you very much for watching this long ass fucking video, but I had to get my thoughts together and present this in a way, and I had to talk about this. So if you made it to the end of all this, thank you very much. Yeah, please like and subscribe if you like this and would like to see more. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you next time. Bye bye.